Oh, please, I'm sorry. Join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. John, go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John. Okay. Barry.
So with that, we have Public Works Director Steve Randall, along with Water Treatment Operator Josh, and Assistant Steve Pesci to discuss water regulations continued. With that, I can turn it over to Steve.
Good afternoon, Steve Randall, Director of Public Works, Water and Sewer Utilities. We are here going, I believe this is our third.
Pull it a little closer, Steve, because I'm having trouble. And I'm sure if I am, others are as well. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Better?
Yep.
So I believe this is our third pass at the water regulations. We took all of your input from our last meeting. Excuse me. From your last meeting, we put those into this. We think this covers everything that you guys had requested. So I guess at this point, it's any last questions that you may have, concerns, any of that stuff. If we're good, then we would ask to move it to the next phase.
So, thanks for being here, Steve. So, if somebody went on to the town's website to look up the agenda and they saw discussion, water rules and regulations, how would they come to a narrative on what we were actually going to discuss today?
Well, I guess it would be, we were discussing the rules and regulations for the Wolfeboro Water Department. I mean, I think that's...
So that's a good answer, but I think we've talked about communication a lot, and what I'm thinking about is a little narrative that will kind of engage the public a little bit so that it would give them a little synopsis of, we've taken 3 runs at this, we're going to finalize this, and maybe this will be our last approach at this, that type of thing. That's to get the public knowledge out there so that they really understand instead of just looking at water rules and regulations. Something that...
No? Ryan? Yep. You done?
You could also say, discussion, water rules and regulations, call town hall for more information.
Linda?
Or call highway department for more information, call water department for more information.
Linda?
My understanding, and I didn't check this one out, our agenda and the full packet is loaded up onto our town website. So if somebody wants the document, it is there. And it says, and I've looked at the other ones, I didn't have time to do this one, but that's where it goes. So we need to make sure the public knows that they can access it on our town website.
So here comes the old business side of me. I kind of agree with the idea that if you're going to put something out, and it's not meant to say back up, stop, rewire. Sometimes when you get a blizzard of information, the first question I want to answer or get answered for me is, so what? Who cares? Like, so what? Why? What's important? I like the idea of a brief narrative. I want to, you guys have to use your own judgment, town manager, about how that works. So, the so what? Who cares is really important. Now, yes, the stuff is on the website, and yes, if people want to know more about it, but my view personally would be, if somebody wants to know more, they should read the so what, who cares, and say, I need to know more. That's all. Okay. All right. Thanks for that. Anything else, John?
No.
No. Okay. All right, Steve.
So for our next phase of, so when this goes to the public input section, I will write a brief memo that goes with it that will explain some of that. And then for the next round, we have 2 more rounds of this. I will do the same thing for this phase of it as well, in case somebody does want to come. But if I'm not mistaken, there's no public input here today. So it's more just for them if they wanted to sit and listen, right? Just so we're all on the same page, I understand.
Mr. Duche?
Can you give a brief explanation, we've done it before, but it's good at every meeting, where the rules and regulations came from?
Sure. So basically, what we did is we took the ones that we've had in place since, I believe 1981 is what we had. We updated it verbiage-wise, we've updated it pricing-wise and dates-wise. Made it, just try to make it more current. There's not a whole lot of changes to this as it was to the one in 1981. You know, the basis of it is always still the same. A few changes we put in there. Linda had asked about it earlier this week there's a line in there for Buy American products. That was never in there before, but anything that we do that is, let's use the water main out here, South Main, for example. That's federal money designed. All of those, anything with federal money comes with the Buy American tag. We're spending a lot of time and grant money trying to make sure that we don't have any lead in our system. I'm not going to tell you what 100% that the fittings from China have lead in them, but they're pretty sure that they have lead in them. So to make sure that what we are buying for ourselves is Buy American, because the quality of it is backed. So that is probably one of the bigger changes, I guess. And it's not really a change, it's just spelled out.
Can I ask a question? So, you know, I saw the question, and, you know, the Buy American is, sure. But is there a certification on these parts?
Yes, they're stamped.
So in the certification that it is made in America is certified by somebody else. And that somebody else is EPA or whomever. Okay. Because when I looked at it, my first reaction was, geez, I remember, you know, standing in El Paso and looking across the river at all those sneakers that were made in America that was in another country. So as long as that certification is coming through, I'm okay. The only other thing I'd ask you, and when you do more of these, which I appreciate you doing, is if there's an errata sheet that says, here's what I changed and here's what we changed it from and to. That way we're not doing hunting and pecking, okay?
And to, just to be a little more clarified, the other second half of Linda's question, this doesn't mean you can't buy a Moen faucet or anything like that. These, again, the majority of these regulations have absolutely nothing to do with the general homeowner. This is for us for infrastructure.
This is core infrastructure.
This is core infrastructure regulations. It's not what you do in your home, what you want to buy for a faucet or any of those things. Those are plumbing code things. That has nothing to do with what it is we're talking about.
Okay, anybody else? Proceed.
So I guess if we don't have any questions with it, we can move it to the next phase.
I do have a question on at the top of page 5, and I shaded area says department is not responsible for maintenance or repair of water mains, hydrants, valves, or services on private road or association. I know I brought this up last time, and I don't see any disclaimer that we talked about to say that if you provide documentation to the contrary,
Page 5.
that it was installed by the town and the town owned that at one point in time.
So I guess we could add that in there, John. We never got legal clarification on that either, so.
No, I just want to make sure I understand. John, you're saying that it's possible that somewhere in the past, the town did an installation of some facilities, mains, hydrants, whatever. It's possible that, and I'm just saying this because I don't know, it's possible that these are on private property, private roads.
Well, I have documentation that the Freddie Osgood installed
Yeah.
ductile line down my road,
So
and he was working for the town.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, okay.
my question to that would be, John, did the board vote to take it? That's the key. Whether the town put it in or not does not necessarily mean it was adopted. The board has to adopt the water system in order for it to become, I'm not going to mention the name of the roads, but we have a couple of those in town that we've been going back and forth with for the last couple of years, and that's what that comes down to. somewhere it has to show that the board accepted it, just like they would have accepted the town road or something else. So they would have had to accept it regardless of if I put it in tomorrow. It doesn't matter if I put it in on his road. If the board doesn't accept it, then it's not a town line.
Well, I think what's happening here is this, pardon me for interrupting, I think what's happening here is you're getting the "yeah, what about" question,
Correct.
okay? That statement generates a, "yeah, but what about?" And I think a little more clarity on that one is probably important.
So I guess we could put a line in there of something along the lines of a case-by-case evaluation based off of paperwork or history if somebody brought something forward.
So I'm going to throw a little curveball into that concept that you just threw at me. Along with my private line, your private line goes through my road,
Which
so-
one? The sewer one, you mean?
the water. So basically what you're saying is our road is responsible for repair and water mains and hydrants and valves of services. So that main that goes up through to the high school, we're responsible for that.
Well, no, because if it's a main and if it's our main, then there should be an easement up through there for that. That's different. But that's,
So-
Okay.
I'm
so-
saying there should be.
Yes.
Just
But
saying.
there's the
yes.
"yeah, what abouts" though. I mean, and that
Yep.
this is a, so you presumably, if you're transiting service, nothing's getting dropped off into a
Correct.
house. You're just providing a transit. There should be something in the record that says there's an easement granted or taken, one or the other, to do that.
I would like to think so, but that being said,
But this again, a
historically-
"yeah, what about," and I
So-
think you need to be a little more.
Yep.
So I do believe that the main and the ductile was put in at the same time when they went up the street.
All right, Linda?
I think we can check the records to see if the board
Yeah.
accepted it, and I'm kind of with John. I think we do have some mains that may not have all the easements for them being where they are. I think that's been typical of some of our older pipes around town.
So what if we just put a clause in that says, so let me.
Well, you work the words.
Yep, let me work the words for that, and we put that in there, then would that be acceptable? So then, case-by-case basis comes through, if somebody can show us that it's, because if somebody can show us that somewhere along the way that your predecessors accepted it, we have no problem. We just don't want to get caught doing something that we're not supposed to do either.
So if in the town's report, a superintendent of the water department installs something,
Still doesn't, technically it doesn't count unless the board accepts it.
so you are saying all through town, wherever there's a water line in, the town has accepted that all throughout the town?
To the best of our knowledge, yes.
Mr. Muccio?
Just along that same path, on the electric end, over the years, we have found many, many, many electrical lines that were done 50, 60 years ago, let's say perhaps nights and weekends, by staff members and perhaps general foremen that have worked over the electric department. So a very similar situation could very likely exist. It would not shock me. And then we find them, I'm sorry, that's private. And then we've either rebuilt them and accepted them or not.
So somebody has plowed this issue before us. There's got to be some other town, municipality that's dealt with this. There's got to be. I mean, we're not unique in having, Saturday afternoon construction projects, or, to what John is saying, legitimate construction projects that may or may not have caused the town to accept something.
So I am basing my comments off of what I've been dealing with for the last couple of years with a certain water system in town. So that is where my mindset is coming from, because things were promised, things were said, things were put in, but at the end of the day, it got to the board level and they said no. So, it was, if the board didn't accept it, then we don't own it.
Mr. Duchesne?
I know of tarred roads in town that were never platted. So I know of a water line in our association that was installed and nobody knew where it came from or how it came from. So we understand that this happens, but
I think the easiest thing to do is to put terminology in
Yep.
the regs, and then as a side piece, if that's something that you want to get together, we can look at and look up regulations, and if it is, then it is. If it's not, it's not.
So
ahead, John.
to respond to Brian, what you're saying may be true, but I actually have a document that says Freddie Osgood in the superintendent's report for the town of Wolfeboro said that they put these in, and at that point in time, those were
Legit.
legit. That was the process at the time. And when you say you're going to repeal all previous regulations, policies, and ordinances, that's where I get a little
No, I agree with that.
concerned.
More words here. And again, the concept of hydrants. I mean, I've had a couple of inquiries. I personally, I got a hydrant in my private association, and we didn't put it in. And so we need to have some clarity around that. And hydrant flushing. I mean, who flushes hydrants? If you're on a private road, and does that introduce a safety issue? Those are,
And those were all the things that we've been working through for the last year and a half with the previous town manager and how we were dealing with those in legal. And as far as we are concerned, we have not gotten anything other than what we have been doing, which is we don't touch anything on the privates. We don't touch the hydrants. We don't flush the hydrants. We don't touch the mains. We don't do anything with them. They belong there.
okay. So more words.
Yep.
And Barry, you okay with that? More words?
No, certainly clarify. There always needs to be a circumstance that,
So if I want to clarify, we put a clause in there to open it up to,
Documentation.
documentation, then
so what happens to a hydrant in a private association?
it's private.
So who flushes it? Anybody?
So right now, because we got in trouble for flushing was it last summer? Or summer before? It was 2 years ago for flushing like we normally do. And then something happened after the fact, nothing to do with us. That's what has triggered all of this.
So
That's right. There was
So
an allegation that after the flushing, something happened to the water supply.
can a private association, how does a private association have a hydrant flushed?
So by rights, they should hire somebody to come in and maintain that. So in the private associations, as it is right now, Zodi doesn't use those hydrants. They're not using them. They're off
Really?
limits to the fire department as well.
So they're there for nothing? So if there was a house that was burning down and they had no water source, they would,
They're going to have a water source, Brian. I wouldn't put that out there.
Okay.
They're going to have a water source. There's plenty of other, if we have town water in a neighborhood,
Yep.
there's a town-owned main in a hydrant far enough away. The safety part of that has all been looked into. That we're all on the same page as far as that goes.
Okay.
So I would just soon not get out there that people think that their house is
Well,
gonna burn.
not to crawl too deep into this one, but, hydrants in proximity to residences has an effect on insurance.
Yes, it
Okay?
does.
And that's an important issue, especially if your house goes on fire.
It does.
So a little more clarity here as to what's going on here, because there could be implications to the citizens upon insurance.
And that has already been discussed with those neighborhoods. So,
Okay? A little more with Linda.
Yeah, I mean, they also do it by distance from a fire station, and I live out the end of a dirt road. It's going to take them forever to get there.
Yeah.
But I get a discount because I'm within that mileage. It doesn't make sense, some of it.
Depends on your insurance company. I get a discount too because of proximity to this. But I also demonstrated to the insurance company that I could look out the window and shoot a paperclip at the hydrant. John?
So when the town pays for hydrant flushing costs, how do you determine that one?
well, that's based off of that percentage that was dictated by you. We don't set that.
Okay,
Where did you
okay,
go to
so
the budget
I got a
committee?
two-parter.
Yeah.
So to Brian's point, if a private development or association flushes the hydrant, is that cost incorporated into the initial cost of the town?
That's a really good question. And I don't know how that is being handled. Because we are literally, our mandate was hands off. We have nothing to do with that.
Linda has some history on
It
this.
is the American Water Work Association has a percentage that you are to take off for your hydrant system. The Board of Selectmen and the Budget Committee came to an agreement that we would take 17.5% of the costs of the expenses of the water company. So there's a set formula. It's based on documentation, and I am sure we can get you a copy of that. That's what it's based
So
on.
you take all the hydrants, divide that up between the
It's a formula.
net cost.
It's
It's just
a formula.
75% of the.
It's a formula.
Nothing to do, if we had 1 hydrant or 1,000 hydrants, they're just taking 17.5% of the total number of dollars.
I understand that, but that's for the town's hydrants. That, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to quantify a private association's cost. So if you took all the hydrants and you took all of the cost and you divided all the hydrants into that all cost, that would give you an individual divided number for what that hydrant costs per hydrant.
Yes, I don't, except for I don't really think it's a,
I don't think
it's not a representative number.
Yeah.
It's a number, and I know where you're going with this, and
I don't know where you're, I
What do you-
want a little more, I want you to lay out the
So
equation.
if the total number is $100 to flush all the hydrants in town,
Each,
no.
Total.
$100 total, I'm just
Okay.
using the easy math number.
good.
And then you have 10 hydrants in town, but one of them is on a private association. That private association would pay $10, 1/10 of the total cost.
in
theory.
correct. That's just not how that's,
Not how it works.
it's just not how it,
You
how
don't
it's set up.
understand that, Paul?
So, yeah, no, I got it, but it's not how it works.
Right.
So, I think you get you the policy. No, I got it. It's just not how it works. I may disagree with it, but it's not how it works. Take a look at the policy, and then let's come back and figure out what the rubric needs to be. Because here's the question I have: is we used to flush them all. Now we don't. So what happened to that extra cost? If that's your question, I'm with you. What happened to the extra cost? Where did that go? Did it get put on the existing inventory of hydrant users? Where did it go?
So
Linda and then me.
Huh?
Linda and then me.
I think we need the American Water Works section that talks about how they calculate the hydrants. And then we need to look at what we're doing, and then we can really talk based on information.
That's
So
good.
where I'm going is if a group of homes that has a hydrant in their association could sign a waiver to allow the town to flush the hydrant instead of the hands-off.
and we tried that path, and that was rejected.
Okay?
Rejected by who?
I believe the associations.
I was never.
I think
I'm specifically not being specific.
Okay.
Because
Specifically not.
specifically not being specific.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
John?
All set. Just
All
want to
set.
get it out there.
Yep. Okay. What else? Anybody else? Any other comments? Okay.
I have one more.
Yep.
So I will add that verbiage.
I'm sorry?
I will add the verbiage for what John was speaking of. Do we want to do this one more time before you have your public input on it? Or do you want us to fix that verbiage on that? I think the hydrants and those things are a different conversation than the regulations, but if we have the clause in there of if documentation, that stuff,
So the bid here is, I fix it up, we come back for one more conversation, then we go to a public input session, so that's 2, or we fix it up and present it to the public, that's a 1 extra meeting. Linda?
I would do the one extra meeting.
I would too.
Based on some public input, we might change something also. So it seems ridiculous to come back for one.
Yep.
After we get the public input, we should re-look at it at that particular point in time.
Anybody disagree with that?
Nope.
We don't need any motion, John?
No, I don't disagree with it, but I think what would complement that would be the narrative that we talked about initially to go along with it. So
100%. I will do that
Yeah, yeah.
when
No, I know.
this comes to full meeting, 6 o'clock full meeting, on that agenda, there will be a memo attached to it that says, blah. this is what we're
And
doing.
that might
why we're doing it.
encourage the associations to allow their hydrants to be flushed, because it's only to their benefit.
Linda?
I think we should add that wordage to the public notice, because that's, people are going to see the public notice. We need to be more specific in the public notice also.
Right, because that's not just an agenda item, that's a
Brian?
public hearing.
Correct, it needs to,
Right, so do you do this as a public hearing, because I wasn't here for that, or do you just do it as
the
public
public
comment?
input, but
Just
at
public
some
comment on
point,
it.
don't we have to do a public hearing on this?
You
or
don't
not?
have to do a
Oh,
public
okay.
hearing,
Well, in the public
not an ordinance.
notice,
public note.
then
an ordinance.
let's have it.
It's a policy, but,
Let's
you know, the
do
public
it.
should get an opportunity to weigh in. And you know, for as long as I've been around here, even, you know, when I was a little kid, this whole conversation about hydrants has been very confusing to me. And I'm easily confused. Because I have a selfish interest living in a private road. I have a selfish interest, and they used to flush the hydrant. I was happy in all bejesus that they did it.
So, and we have a selfish interest as well of water quality. We have to provide water quality. We would prefer to flush the hydrants. What we would prefer is that there is a waiver that just said, we will come in and we will flush the hydrants, we will maintain the hydrants, and then
Yeah.
the rest of it is not.
Yeah, because we end up with a whole catch-22 here. The town can require an association to maintain all their hydrants, and then the town can say, if those aren't maintained, we're not going to use them. But then if the fire department comes and they don't use the closest hydrant, there can be a huge liability issue on the town fire department.
No, I'm
So
not
we-
worried
we-
about the fire department as well. Tom and Nate and all those guys are well aware of all of this. So
Yeah.
that they're spot on with it.
Okay.
Linda?
I would like to see a draft of a waiver for us as the board to look at.
Yep.
I think that would make sense,
Yeah,
and
we can
so
do
we
that.
could make,
We'll do that, we'll work with Nathan, and then once we have that signed off by Nathan,
I just got to believe that, you know, we're
we're better off with the waiver.
Yeah. Is there a way
Yeah,
that?
I'm not even gonna- I got to believe we're not the only, we're not alone in this issue,
Yeah.
right?
we're not.
You know, there's got to be some precedence out here.
There is.
Okay, so go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
Can there be can the town charge associations a maintenance fee per hydrant?
We could, but
I-
then,
That would be an option to homeowners associations and stuff to,
but again, the problem comes back to, it's not the hydrants, it's the rest of the infrastructure. And when we put our hands on it, how much of that do we
yeah.
start to have to be
Correct.
responsible for? That's where the issue is.
But that's what a waiver tells you to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A waiver says, I'm going to do this, and if there's any, if there's, you know, I'm kind of shorthanding it. If there's any consequential issues that arrive, my hands are clean. You know, I'm going to do this. That's what the basis of a waiver is all about.
If I open it,
You try to cover every possibility, you're going to blow your brains out. Right?
if I open it and it breaks, it's not our fault. You as an association are going to have to pay to get it fixed. That's understood.
Okay,
That should be something that
Let's just say a waiver.
works.
draft it up. Anybody object to that?
Makes
No?
sense to me.
Okay. What else you got?
Okay, do you want to move on to the
And
capital?
the decision here is one more time and the public comment simultaneously.
Correct.
Okay.
We will smurf this up, get it to you folks.
Good.
And we'll get it on the agenda
Got it.
for when we can.
What else you got?
Okay. We wanted to do a quick capital projects update.
Please.
I apologize, I do have a cold, so.
Got it.
Okay, we'll start with everybody's favorite, mine and yours, Mill Street. Our Mill Street pump station is now cruising along to a middle to end of October start. We have already started stockpiling pieces and parts at Filterbed Road. If anybody's been down there, you'll see a couple Connex boxes with pieces and parts in it from T-Buck. The wet wells have already been cast and built. So we are hoping once T-Buck hits the ground, they'll hit the ground running. And the construction period of this is roughly around 400 days.
Yeah, the 3.1 million, is that all under a state loan? Except
is
for
now.
those that we have grants for?
We have rolled all of that into and redone it into the original loan with the loan values.
So that interest rate is around 2-something?
I believe so.
Just so people understand
Yes,
that it's
yeah.
a low interest
Yeah,
because it's a state loan.
when we added the extra money in, we have redone that loan to encompass everything that we're spending.
Green Street.
Green Street, that is, I'm just gonna sign a couple documents. That project is done, that plan set is done for Crescent Lake Ave and that tie-in area. That plan set is done. So that'll come off. By the time we do this again, that'll come off of here. So we just need to actually put that project forward and get it done.
Point. So, where you did the tie-in across the street,
On Crescent Lake Ave? Yep.
yeah, on that corner. Contacted you last year about the pothole
gravel.
there.
Yep.
Was opened up. You went and put a bunch of gravel in it.
Yep.
It's eating back out again. Any chance you can,
We can't pave it, we can continue to gravel it, because the entrance of the road is too wide. That's why we couldn't pave it before.
Why
We
is it
keep
eating
putting-
out?
Huh?
Why is it eating out?
Because people take the corner too short. As they're coming from the hospital and they make a right-hand turn, they turn the corner too short.
honestly, I mean, I have a truck and I have to slow to like 0
To make the turn.
to make the turn.
So just so that I'm clear, I mean, it's eating out because of compaction, because of turning. It's not eating out because we have a leak under there. That's,
No, it's traffic,
I'm just trying to remember when we were
I,
debating whether it was
I really don't understand why we can't put take the gravel back out. We had an open hole there before, and we just filled it with gravel. Would have been, in my mind, a little bit better if we had just taken the
paved
tar.
it. So we can't, because we're coming to a state road, so the state governs that, and the problem is, that was paved at once upon a time, and the state made us take that out, because the more you pave, what was happening is the people were turning so tight and they were driving on the edge of the sidewalk. That all came out when they did the handicap plates on that, because if you look at the tire marks, people are driving over the edge of the sidewalk and they're breaking the sidewalk. They turn so much. The more we widen that, the more the wider they're gonna turn. So it's almost a traffic deterrent. Unfortunately, we just have to keep filling the hole in.
So essentially, we're going to allow a pothole to create a hazard for drivers, and we're not going to fill it with tar.
Because it's not, if it was coming onto a town road, John, we would have more control over that. The apron, we're only allowed so far on the apron. So if we pave that, I could go to DOT and say, look, can I get a waiver for this? Then people are actually gonna start driving on the sidewalk, which is what they do now. And if we pave that, then it's gonna be even worse. They just keep cutting the corner even more and more than they already do. If you look at you can see the tire marks on the sidewalk. Unfortunately, people don't slow down when they make the corner. To me, that's a driver issue, not a road issue.
I don't think it's a good answer, honestly. I think, again, you're putting the public at risk. Again, if it's tarred, then cars don't risk blowing their tires out, but then the rims, it's like, it's just, I mean, I would ask you to go to the state and ask them if you can pave that, it's about a 3.5-foot circle right there.
That's up to you folks. If you would like me to petition the state to widen that, I can do that.
I mean,
I wouldn't mind if you asked the question.
Sure, that's not a problem at
I
all.
know, that's just, anybody not think it's a good idea?
I just don't know if I have all the information. I would like more information before we have to take any kind of action on it.
How about I'll make an informal talk with DOT. We'll see
Sounds
what they
good.
have to say about it. Again, I did it once before, but I'll do it again.
so you can make a copy of the picture that I sent you last year.
Yeah, and again, we filled it in a half a dozen times since, so it's not we can do that.
So just to that point, if you keep having to refill it, I mean, you just keep wasting more money and manpower to fill it. It doesn't really make any sense.
But again, in my counter to that is going to be, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. What I'm saying is the wider we pave that, the wider they're going to turn. And all we're doing is just going to keep pushing that. We're just going to keep pushing them out.
So there's a couple here. A couple of bids. One that says can you do something about it? Your answer is, if I do something about it, it makes the road wider, and that's one answer. Another question is, I need more information. And another is, could you pick up the phone and, dial the area code and just say, look, here's the problem. Can we solve this thing? Can you get back to us and let us know?
Yep, absolutely.
And you provided some images, and I haven't blown out my tire yet, but if I have bad tires, should I drive it up there and
Give it a try?
give it a whirl?
Yeah, and then call DOT.
Thanks a lot for that. No, I think that, no, but hey, look, it's one of three possibilities, right? More information, and then we make a decision. You informally ask, or we just simply say no. And I think the consensus, at least I think, consensus is get some more information from the state.
Sure.
Okay.
Not a problem at all.
So I have a question. The paved part, would it be on town or state?
State.
State.
So my conversation would be to the state, we have a pothole, come fix this. And let them take care of it.
Yeah, that could be an answer.
I will contact my
But
counterpart, and he and I can have a conversation at our level and see what we can get, and we can go from there.
That could be an answer, but it gets back to the question that says, leaving it alone, I think for at least from what I'm hearing, because I haven't gone down there and looked at it, leaving it alone is probably not the right solution.
No, but we'll
might not.
continue to fill it in until I can get.
Subject to Linda getting more information.
That's
Yes.
why we need, when I say more information, I have to go, look, this came out of nowheres.
Yeah,
And, if you have a picture, I'd love to see it, but I don't want to make a decision when I don't have the documentation.
I'll take care of it.
So I do believe it's outside the white line, and we were in the premise before that the state was white line to white line, and we were on the outside of the white line, because at the DOT meeting the other night, I made the comment to the lady that was doing the presentation, where now they actually said they would be responsible for the area outside the white line now.
From your lips to God's ears.
But
In a
there's still the
certain-
state right away up through there and how the road comes up to it. That's a little different than
All right,
that.
okay.
Isn't the white line to white line, they're drawing a line where that starts? My understanding is part of the project, they do not believe in the white line to white line, and
Well,
then down below is
big
what I've
picture-
heard.
Big picture wise, they would prefer to do away with that white line to white line, and they take that. Now, we're still gonna have the sidewalks, we're still gonna have that stuff, but they were gonna take the drainage and the maintenance of the drainage part. So I'm taking all of that with a grain of salt at this point until
I'm
we have
doing-
something in writing
Okay.
and done.
I'll go with you.
I will talk with them, I will make that phone call tomorrow and get some more information.
Come fix our pothole, please. That's what I would say. Come fix our pothole.
Well, they have a ton of them, just like,
All right, the next low-energy capital project is the South Main Street Sewer Engineering.
yep.
Pretty low energy.
So that plan is in environmental review right now. It's been drawn. It's sitting in environmental review. You will see when we get to my draft of the 10-year that I am going to request that project goes on to 2027 warrant. And this plan is the one that's going to tell us what it is we got to do with it.
So, and I'm not, just as this meeting was about to commence, I got a phone call from Senator McConkey, who has the 2026 New Hampshire DES Clean Water SRF Priority List draft. And he forwarded that to me. I've given it to Barry. We'll all get it tonight. You'll get it. And I'm not going to comment on where we are on the list, but this will inform us. Okay?
So, and it's going to be at this point, I'm going to put it forward because I think we need to do it regardless of how the funding goes.
Linda?
I'm with Steve. I think this is one that has to go forward regardless.
I'm with you. John?
Do we think it has leaks?
Well, we know it has I&I problems. Whether leaking in or leaking out, I mean, if it leaks in, there's certainly portions of it can leak out. I'm not going to say that it doesn't.
A water line leaking in?
Water? No, we're talking about sewer.
Oh,
This
okay.
is sewer.
Sewer. Yeah.
No, this will take that sewer main that starts up here at the church and runs down.
Yeah.
And this will encompass, just so we're all, I was going to get to it when we get to the other part, but this will encompass from where it starts out here at the church, because the hospital, none of that is connected to any of that. That starts out here. That runs down through, picks up Railroad Ave, comes across, goes under the bridge, and then it goes into the Mill Street pump station. That's what the line is that we're talking about replacing,
And
So
we're
this
going
is-
all the way into the Mill Street?
all the way into the
Okay,
station.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, so this is the sewer engineering document.
Correct. It does say sewer, doesn't it?
Okay. Next one, Steve?
River Street, that is going to start, the last update we had was they're looking at probably the second half of August to be in. That's not a very big project. Lyman has it. They'll be in there probably 8 weeks-ish, and that will take care of that. That sewer main was inspected and is in good shape. So that will go from where it makes the connection on Center Street to just crosses underneath the rail trail. And that's where that new section picked up and went into Crescent Lake Ave. Not Crescent Lake Ave. West River Street.
Questions, problems, difficulties? John?
Is that leaking?
What, that water main?
Yeah.
We can't pinpoint that it's leaking. So that's
You
an
can't
old
what,
vintage
Steve?
line. Huh?
You can't what?
So more than likely it has some leaks in it, but that's an old vintage water main. That's why it was on the list to replace.
So I think, if I could, I think what we're hunting on, at least I think I hear us hunting on, is the statement that, N number of gallons is leaving the
Yes.
pond, and Y number of gallons isn't getting to the meter.
Exactly.
And I think we're trying to, rather than have
Yep.
you go around with a divining rod trying to find it, we're trying to say, where are the problems, and will we see you come forward with, here's my plan to fix in a substantial way.
What we are
These
doing
issues.
is, it's our belief that these older mains have a lot of small leaks in them, whether they're stress cracks, whether they're joint leaking. It's not enough to necessarily see in one place, but every time that we have replaced one, we find seals that are bad, we find cracks, and we find that stuff. So how we have put together the replacement plan is based off of age, known lead joints, and historic leaks in general. And that's how we've based this replacement plan for the next 10 years off of.
So,
Go ahead, John.
so that's what I'm gonna hit on. Your 10-year plan.
Yep.
I wasn't here in 2023. So I see this email that you sent out to us. We created the 10-year plan in 2023 based upon our inventory and asset management materials. We just need to follow it.
Yep.
How are we going to follow it?
So I'm going to tell you what it's going to cost based off of everything, information that we have over the next 10 years. This is what we believe this will cost, and then we have to fund it.
Well, no,
So I view my job is to say, this is what's wrong, this is what I need for money. And then you folks have to tell me whether or not you're going to give it to me or not.
well, no.
I think we all should get a copy of that plan again, so we know. I think that's one of the
Well,
things.
you have the updated one. You have it.
I think that John's saying he doesn't.
You don't have the one that was just emailed to you?
It's
Well, what was
it's in
it,
his
email?
phone.
Well-
You should have one, no, you should have one printed off, the 10-year CIP, the one I just submitted it.
But didn't you, isn't there a written document that you
So-
came to that?
Yes, we have the
Okay.
road one, we have all the water, yes, you have.
Okay, and
the
I
road
think-
ones go back to 2019. You want all that asset management stuff, yes.
I think
and
that's what
inventory.
I'm asking for, yes. So we could go back and look and kind of refresh our minds.
I agree with this. What we don't
Yeah.
want is the Cliff Notes version.
Yep.
If this
Yep,
is
that's
going
not a
to
problem.
be, if this is going to be a big nut,
It is,
which it's going to be a big nut, there's no threats, it's a promise, it's going to be a big nut.
sure.
I would think, we don't want to come to this conversation kind of not read, well read.
Yes,
All right, so put the stuff out. If we don't do our homework, shame on us, but put the stuff out, because he wants it.
yeah, we can
We
give
want
you, we'll give you the full water main inventory, which has
Mm-hmm.
roads, lengths of the main, size of the main, type of main, and the vintage of it. That's a big one. That's the one that says, well, we know that this one is put in 1910.
And the question, at least for me, when you come forward with this, is, what I'm going to look at personally is, are we fixing the leaks? Are we fixing, what's the theory of the case here?
Sure.
And the theory of the case to me would be, if I do these things over a period of time, you can reasonably expect, reasonably, because we can't predict with 100-degree certainty, that doesn't work, but you can reasonably expect that that big number we're worried about gets smaller,
Correct.
okay? If you can't demonstrate that there's closure on the big number of, then we're just having a good time spending money.
So there's also, there's a couple of the factors. We have a road inventory and we have roads that we know are bad. So what we've done is we've taken the roads that we know that need to be replaced, that says, you need to fix this road in this year.
You have a multifactorial problem.
Correct.
Okay,
And
yeah, I
we've
got
taken all of that data, we put that together, and we said, these are the ones we're gonna do next, and this is the reasons why.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see North Main on there. North Main, we all know North Main needs to be done, but North Main is a 10-year project that's gonna cost a lot of money.
And we're talking hypothetically, but I agree, I understand your point about there's trade-offs. You want me to fix this road and the water system that's underneath it, or do you want me to fix the water system? I understand the trade-offs, but they should be clear. But the basis of this is where we're asking ourselves is ground us with the documents, and then we can build from there.
We have a very aggressive leak detection program. We are out doing it multiple times a week, trying to identify leaks. And it's easy when, if John has a leak in his house and his water's bubbling up out of his driveway, or he has low pressure, or Josh can isolate it to sections, we can do that. We can go out and we can listen. But if you've got a main that, you've got a 6-inch main that's 1,000 feet long, that is all micro-cracked, and it's been that way for God knows how long, you're losing water out of it, but it's hard to quantify that until you replace it. You can't just pinpoint it and say, that's broken right there. You've got a bunch of
but you got to
small
be,
stuff.
disrespect. You got to be better at quantifying.
Right, but
I'm not saying you're not better, but you got.
I understand.
You can't.
Yes.
You can't go. This is a little too.
No, I understand.
You got to get into it.
Yeah.
Well,
John.
so if anybody is sitting watching this, this conversation revolves around a memo that Steve sent to us on July 14th, where he talks about concern about water levels in the reservoir and what the effects are and will be. Past data shows that the town has been at these levels before, and with the help of Mother Nature, leak detection, and the water users adhering to restrictions, the reservoir has fully recovered several times. Sometimes it does take a couple of years to reach its full level, shown in the data. Below are some of the instances where the levels were very low, and then it goes on to say there has been a talk of these ways to fix this issue. Build a bigger dam, deep level wells, add another plant on Clark Road. All of these items can be on the table for discussion, but the easiest, most cost-effective way to save water is to address our unaccounted water loss. We have a very aggressive leak detection program and fix multiple leaks each month, but we are still showing a loss of 6 million gallons a month. Our proposed infrastructure upgrade plan would address the vintage water mains that are the biggest contributor to these losses. None of this is a quick fix. We created this 10-year plan in 2023 based upon our inventory and asset management materials. We just need to follow it. Now I'll just give you a little insight here. Do we draft about 500,000 gallons a day on our water?
It's almost 700,000
So
right now.
okay, so that's actually a bigger number than what I was thinking about. So, but the 6 million gallons of loss a month is like if somebody had an oil barrel in their basement and at the end of the month they knew they only used over a third of it, but the rest was gone, then they would have to ask the question, what's going on?
So that's about 22% loss. So industry standards, they say, is 15. We are striving for better than that. It used to be 50, I believe.
That is correct, when I
It used to
came on
be-
the board.
It was 50 20 years ago.
And
The
that's
last-
why they put a moratorium
Yeah.
on the town for water hookups.
So 3 years ago, when Josh and I started doing this together, we were at 30%. We're now down to 22. So we're gaining. It's just,
The, not being disrespectful, but this can be construed as making me feel good with statistics. 6 million is a big number, so statistically I'm alarmed by that. 30 to 15 or 30 to whatever you've improved, that makes me feel good. But that doesn't, that's all good information. The question is, what do you want to do? Where do you want to do it? How much is it going to cost? And are we going to put a little dent or a big dent in the number? Because all this, and I'm not being disrespectful to your memo or John reading it from your phone and all, I'm not being disrespectful to that, but all that to me is like for background. It's all, you know, it's good. But I want to know, what are you going to do? When are you going to do it? How much is it going to cost? And what are we going to get for a benefit?
So the direct.
I'm not being mean, okay?
No, and I'm not going to be, I'm going to try not to be disrespectful in return.
Oh, go ahead.
The bigger the number of return that you want is going to depend on the size of the number of investment you want to put in.
Give us some options.
You have them, yeah.
No, for the you know, going out, give us some options. What do you want to, how do you want to fund it? How do you want to tranche it? How do you want to build it out?
So if you've looked at the CIP,
I
have that. I have it all in there. I have the roads. I have what I think we can manage, what it's got, the estimated cost to do it, and how we're going to get there.
Yeah. So if you're telling us that the 2023, you know, theory you had still holds firm, and there's no more information, then we'll go for it. Right?
I've rebuilt it based off of a conversation, well, that you guys had. I think we're going back 3 or 4 meetings now. I sat in the back, and one of your, I think it was one of your work plans was you wanted to put money into infrastructure.
Right.
You pointed at me and said, "We're going to ride you like a horse. We need you to update that."
I don't think I said horse.
Actually, it's exactly what you said.
Did I say that?
Yes,
Oh
you
my
did.
God, that's probably an HR violation.
Probably is. So, and that's exactly what I did. I looked at it and I tried to make it reasonable that maybe we can sell it and still make progress at the same time. The other part of that is we can't rip the whole town up at the same time. We have to do it strategically.
I got it.
And we have to work in different sections. We're going to have a massive project going here. We're going to have a massive project going here. We can't rip up this road. We can't rip up every road at the same time. So we have to do it strategically.
Brian?
So this is where we have to be careful, because there was statements at another meeting that said 6 million gallons, that's 6 million gallons, that's 300,000 gallons a day when it was 200,000, and that we're only producing 500,000. So the difference between 300,000 and 500,000 looks like you're way over 50% loss. When you change it to the real numbers and it's 200 of 700, then it becomes 22%, which is a lot different than 60%. And this is information that the board has to be careful when we put out information that we are portraying as factual, and make sure that we have all of our numbers. Because when we round from 450 to 500,000, that's not good. And we also have to realize that we do have a budget. We could fix everything in town if we wanted to. All we have to do is double taxes. But that's not what people want, and that's not what people can afford. So the plan that Steve has put in front of us since 2023, we should be looking at. We should be determining how it fits in the budget, because we're part of creating the budget, and we should make sure that he has the funds he needs to keep the progress and the trend. We're trending in the right direction. He is making sure that his goal is to continue to trend in that direction. We need to work together. We don't need to be contrarian or finger pointing or anything like that. We need to just work to get the 22 down to 15 to be the industry standard. And if we can get below that to 12, fantastic.
Ms. Murray,
Yes, you know.
bring us home.
Well, if you look at where we were, 50%, we've bought equipment, and we have consistently over the years worked at it, and we're bringing it down and bringing it down, and I hope some of the projects that we have will bring it down further. But I think this has been on our forefront since I've been on the board, and the state said you can't allow that to happen. We and the voters have approved us moving in this direction, and I think that with some of the information that Steve has given us today, that we'll talk about later, is it looks like we're coming to a path to move forward and keep on working on it.
Can I ask one last question? Steve, have we given you enough information to tell you that this is important?
Yes.
So was it irresponsible for me to ask if we were losing 500,000 gallons a day?
No, I just think you were, I took it as you were clarifying. It was a question.
I
I didn't,
I was just trying, I was trying to ask how much we were losing, and I didn't make a statement. I asked the question if we were losing that much, and you said we were losing 700,000.
Okay.
I misunderstood the question. We are producing 700,000 a day.
that's what I thought you asked as well, was how much we were producing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Yes.
that's what we're doing.
I thought you asked, are we producing 500,000
Yes,
a
I
day?
did.
Okay, no, in,
Okay.
We're
Producing
700 and something.
You got the message, this is important. You got the message, there's a
So-
lot of knobs on this thing?
we spent quite some time redoing that after the meeting, when I sat in the back and you,
Did I point at you?
yes, you did. We can watch the minutes back. You did your point. So, and we took it to heart because, back in, we've also had conversations, prior manager, of updating our road surface manual. It was done in 2019. I looked at that, it's $100 grand. I don't see the point to spend $100,000 to update something that we can use. The roads haven't gotten any better. So I would rather take that 100,000 and put it towards roads right now. It's very specific in there what roads to fix and how much money we should be putting into it. We have underfunded that. And then none of that is even based off of inflation. We've underfunded it, so.
Okay, keep going.
We have to remember, and when we point one finger at thee, we point three fingers back to me.
Do you want a cough drop?
Okay.
Keep going.
We are now at the evaluations from the pump station. That's from 2025. That's actually closed out now. We spent all that.
Keep going, I need to get a glass of water.
Josh and I are actually meeting with Wood and Kern tomorrow to go over that report. It's done. We're meeting with them on a bunch of things. That is one of them. That eval is done. We can touch base on that a little bit more when we get to the 10-year plan, because those numbers are reflective of what their estimates are. But once we meet with them and we get that finalized, we'll get that presented to you folks as well somewhere down the line. Now we move to the pressure relief valve. That is, contract is awarded as well. T-Buck is doing that, and they are going to be doing that this fall as well as Mill Street.
Oh shit, I hit the paper.
Water treatment upgrades from 2025. I believe, Josh, you spent that money, did you? I got to check that note. I apologize, folks, for some of the finances on your sheet are not all filled in. We've had some MuniSmart and some other issues. In the meantime, since you guys got your stuff,
We're so surprised.
Josh has gone through and actually counted POs and done it the hard way to try to update us a little bit. So that 2025 money is all spent as well. He did his continue upgrading stuff at the plant, pumps, low capacity. We went over that. That draft study, the draft that you guys saw is now we are reworking that between Underwood and Woodard and Kern. We have found some,
I'm just holding my hand up.
okay, we found some operational adjustments that they think they can make to adjust that number a little bit. So we have the two of them working a little closer together on that number.
Yeah, but when?
When it is complete, and it's really complete, we will bring it
Yeah,
forward
but
again.
when?
We are meeting with Wood and Kern tomorrow. I will have more information after that. I'm hoping it's forthcoming.
Linda?
Yeah, I just think the reason we are a little impatient, and we've been asking for it for 2 years. Not your
understand.
fault, but that's where
I understand.
you get us, and it started over in planning, and I think that's
And
our impatience.
I don't like the fact that we issued it originally when you guys saw it, because it wasn't, but that's
You know, it's like being told, it's really going to be great when you get it. I'm going to go, when am I going to get it? I don't know.
So,
So do you think it was a mistake to put that document in front of us?
I wish we had waited. but it was not necessarily my call, so.
You're saying, you're suggesting he was compelled to disclose? You spilled the beans too soon?
Well, I just am trying to understand the chain of action.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish that had been held a little bit longer until we had all of the i's dotted and t's crossed and didn't say draft across the front of it.
Yeah, okay, well,
But
you did
that-
it.
Here we go
That
forward.
toothpaste is out, so we're gonna,
You did it.
we
So,
did it. So.
You're
we're
out
go-
there.
We're going to present it with a solution. So.
Good.
Going.
And
I
it-
would prefer to, going forward, when we have conversations about problems, that we actually can discuss a problem and then we can present you with a solution instead of just problems.
Chucking it on the wall?
Yeah.
Brian?
And it's okay for us to do things, and if it doesn't go as planned, or like this document gets out before, to just say, hey, it's what happened, we're going forward, you're getting the right information.
Well, I think to
There's no issue.
some point, people haven't heard that. People haven't heard me say that. I really wish we hadn't brought that out yet. So I've had that conversations with other people. So we here are trying to do this a little bit different. So
Good for you.
The right question was asked, in my view, the right question was, did you go public too soon? And I think your answer was, I did. Okay. Lessons learned.
yep, and we're not going to do it again. So when it's
Management,
ready,
management and all that kind of stuff, notwithstanding, go, get that fixed.
when it's ready,
Because
you'll
you
have it.
created
Yeah.
we created an expectation amongst ourselves and the public, and people are kind of rolling their fingers
Yep.
and saying there must be something goofy there. Got it. All right, next.
Okay. Tree removal, we spent all that. We took down more trees, dead, dying ones, as you know. We've replanted quite
Now,
a few.
this has nothing to do, just so the public knows, this has nothing to do with the MED budget of taking trees down.
No, this is just that separate, I put that on here because it's capital money in the capital reserve fund. So I always include it in when I do these reports.
And you guys are doing is there a balance of, not aspens, of, what's the one with the bugs in it? Ash?
Yes.
You got all the ashes out of here on public
No.
property?
God, no.
Why not?
Because the
There's
number
enough
that we
money.
got,
There's not enough money on the
there's
planet.
enough money on the planet.
Because I'll tell you why, Paul. We're at the wrong elevation where the ash trees are growing.
Really?
That's right.
It's going to be a problem.
Not to digress, but I'm getting a little freaked out about now the next big villain is
Yeah.
going to be the conifers. So anyway, okay, so you're
Okay.
taking trees out.
The next one we got is the annual sewer treatment plant, and Wood and Kern they're working on their maintenance plan. I'm waiting for some more actual details on their stuff. They're a little late spending each year, so I don't have much of an update in July. That's usually towards fall when they do their spending. Oh, this is my favorite. The 2026 town road upgrades. So we reclaimed Beach Pond. All paving is on hold right now, probably till fall.
Is the reclaiming of Beach Pond done?
Oh, yeah, we reclaimed it.
It's
Yeah,
done.
It's done. It's all
So
done.
all and there was noise around that, right? It was wrong gravel, flowing stuff.
What that was a misunderstanding of exactly what it was we were doing, and disagreements between different people that have different ideas. Why we reclaimed a section that looked okay when we could have paved over it. What they didn't understand was we were actually raising the profile of the road before it and afterwards, and we weren't going to pave a road and come down and pave
But
it.
you know what? And I don't want to revisit it. But you know what? This is another thing that we're getting dinged on, not ding dong, but dinged on, is get the stakeholders in a room, tell them what you're going to do, tell them how you're going to do it. Do you feel you did a good enough job with that?
Well, I would have said yes, because there was only one or two people. We've been up there working, and we get on a daily basis probably a dozen people stop and say thank you. They ask what the status
I got
is,
that part,
all
but-
that stuff. So, and they understand what we're doing. So I think by and large, yes. I think you're always going to have the outliers. So what I am going to try to do again, what we are going to try to do as a department is try to touch on the outliers a little bit more and not paint the broader strokes. So if we get to zone in on a few people, then that's what we're going to try to do.
This is just me personally. I look forward to the day when people say they're communicating too much.
Keep dreaming.
You know, they're talking to them. Communicate. My personal opinion. That's between you and the town manager. But you'll never get hurt by communicating, as long as you don't publish a study too early.
So we have pretty much all but $100,000 of that is spent or it's encumbered with Allstate. We have, right now, I've pushed it off till fall. I really don't want to pay 2 mobilizations. We have a project that's on hold right now that we're not sure where that's at. I don't want to pave Sewell Road in July and August. So we're going to wait till fall and we'll
Good
try to
idea.
get all of those done. Hopefully we have some answers on some other things and we can get it all done at once.
And this is something that people should understand, and hopefully they do. We're a resort town. We can't do in June, July, August, even the beginning of September, what they can do in non-resort towns.
Well, and that's how we base our whole work plan off of in the spring. So we'll get the phone calls of, hey, you know, can you come out here and work on this road, work on that road? Well, we need to work out here. Or we need to work on Sewell Road. We need to work downtown. That's why we did the sidewalks when we did. That's why we do the way that we structure that. Because come the 1st of July, we want nothing to do with downtown. It's too chaotic to do anything. Same thing with Sewell Road. You have a lot of people there. You have the landscapers. You have, you know, the boats. You have, I mean, it's a very, very busy road. So we try to get, you know, in the spring, so depending on how spring hits, if it's a wet spring or late spring, we try to get all of our downtown busy areas done before the 4th of July, and then we go out of town. And that's with the beach ponds or the Pleasant Valley roads or the Middleton roads or the North Wolfeboros. Try to get Wamback. Yes. You're my favorite.
And it's worth mentioning too that, because people don't understand sometimes, 109A, 109, and 28 are state roads.
Yes.
The state takes care of those roads, not our DPW. It's not their responsibility, and they're not, I don't know, allowed to, are you? You can't just rip up and pave a section of that road.
Oh, God, no. No.
Well, yeah, the answer is you don't. Brian's right. But I've seen the highway department step in and fill the breach when you had a, whatever you want to call it, one of those things where the road just kind of crashes out.
We help
And
them quite a bit.
You stepped in. And,
We
you know,
emergency is a different situation.
It's kind of one of
You
those
know,
things that says.
there was a sinkhole up before
Is
Wamback
that what
a
it was?
couple years
Sinkhole?
back.
Before Wamback.
Yeah, right
I
before
turned in.
Wamback.
Yeah.
We were able to respond to that before DOT could, you know, so we called them up, we let them know, they came out, but we had it taken care of. You know, we've had, you know, trucks that will pop tailgates up here at Pickering Corner. Right, the tree on Center Street just a month and a half ago, you know, right by River Street, that came down, you know, Wolfeboro Highway cleaned that up because they could respond to it faster. You know, MED called, they needed help, we were out there, we were able to respond faster than DOT can because we're right down the street. We will do what we need to do to make sure that emergency services are taken care of. But
I think-
picking up some potholes, no.
When I hear Brian observe that, you know, hey, these certain things are out, certain things aren't, it just brings me back to, and I'm not asking you to do this, this is you guys, but it just brings me back to, where's the data visualization of the infrastructure? Just kind of, where is it? Where can I see? And I'm not asking you this, you know, where, how could I visualize our infrastructure? And someday in the future, I'd love to be able to like look out and say, there it is, I can see it. And you can see what's going on, almost in, you know, like a market mover. You'd see how it's happening. Because I think the more you publish, the less you get questions about it. I'm not asking you to do anything.
Nope, I understand.
You got to figure out how to do that. But, you know, I got to believe in your quiver here, you've got data visualization tools that you should either get somebody to help you with or not. Okay.
The next one we have
That
is
wasn't a task. Don't take it as a task.
I didn't. I took it as a, yeah.
The finger point.
Yeah, that's the one. Sidewalk upgrades. So we spent our money, we redid the sidewalk from Mill Street that way. That way. And we did about 450 feet of concrete downtown. Pretty sure I said this in one meeting already, update on why we didn't do the bridge. We were planning on doing the ones on the bridge. I will just recap it for some folks. All the plans we had for the bridge showed that those sidewalks were poured after the fact, and were not actually part of the bridge, and come to find out they actually are structurally part of the bridge.
So like when you stuck the shovel in the ground or the da-da-da in the ground, you actually
Could see the
picked up
lake.
you could see the water underneath?
Correct.
That would tell you there was no deck and then paved?
Correct, yes. Which is what the plan said it did have.
Oh,
So, what we will do on the next round is I couldn't do it at this time, but I was able to find a mill machine that we can actually mill that down a couple inches and recap them. But that'll be a different time, because we don't want to get into the bridge deck, obviously. So,
Paul?
Brian?
No.
Dave?
Dave, I'm sorry.
You want to explain why some of the sidewalks have not been done? That the properties adjacent to the
Oh, yes.
sidewalks actually
Correct.
own the sidewalk?
Yeah, so there's...
So
there's
that we're not responsible
Yeah,
for
so
the
there's
repairs?
some sidewalks. For instance, the one in front of Bradley's, we don't own that. Bradley's owns that. If you notice in front of like Seven Sons, in that stretch, we didn't take it all the way to the buildings. We took it to what we owned. I got a lot of questions about that. You know, I had folks doing the other way. Now, the ones that pay attention to a lot of the things in town, which was why, or you're not going to take that all the way to the building, right? Because, you know, they own that, we don't. And we did. We found the measurements, we snapped the line, we cut it. That's why we did what we did, where we did.
Brian?
So is it possible if, say, Bradley's, they own the building, they own the sidewalk, and we're doing sidewalks, do they have an option to say, can you build our sidewalks into your plan and they pay for that? Would it save them money?
I would rather not get involved in any of that, because that's
Okay.
private. If it's private, it's private. Again, this goes back to water mains, goes back to roads, goes back to everything.
Okay.
If we don't own it, I don't want to touch it. So if they want to, they can, it's their sidewalks, they need to maintain them.
Okay.
If they want to hire the contractor that's doing the flat work and do it outside, that's fine. But, you know, like
Okay,
we pulled all the concrete, you know, DPW pulled the concrete. I mean, all the old stuff out. We graded it. We babysat them, you know, because unfortunately we have to sit there and babysit, because if we don't, someone walks right through it.
Yeah.
Even they walk through the cones, they walk through the tape, they walk through everything.
So they could ask you who the contractor
Sure.
is that you're using, you can pass that name to them, and
Absolutely.
they can make their own
Yep.
agreement?
Yep.
Okay.
John?
So on the contrary, when we have a business that takes our sidewalk and builds their facility out over our sidewalk,
Like, can you explain? Give me
the
a
Lackshaw building on the corner, that footprint of the corner of the parking lot is on our property. I remember when we were doing
We did a boundary line adjustment.
we did it, so
Yeah, we
You're
did.
talking about down here?
Wicked
Yes.
Loon, where that
Wicked
corner is.
Loon, where
We
the
did a
corner
boundary
is.
line
They built
adjustment.
it,
Boundary
they built
line
it on our
adjustment.
property,
Yes.
and then
We did a
we-
boundary, yep,
so we gave it to them.
yes. We
Yes.
did a boundary line adjustment at that place. Yep.
That's a you guys thing.
But I'm trying to think of other places that, you know, it's public safety. Do we want our sidewalks to fall apart?
So I think that comes down to, this is how I would look at that, is if we don't own it and it's a public safety hazard, then I would think that would be a code enforcement thing that should put, like any other building that would be condemned, or if it was a restaurant that had a bad deck on it or a bad railing, they would get some sort of a notice. I would think the sidewalk would be the same concept, my opinion. I have no legal basis on that or authority, but that's
So-
how I would look at it.
So the answer to your question, John, is yes. If there's something that is observed on
Yeah.
private land that is, you know, prospectively a public safety or hazard, that's a code enforcement issue.
Yep, and I would think that they would have to issue some sort of citation to make them fix it.
Like a rickety, to your point, a rickety guardrail going up into a
Now,
building.
I could see
Second
some
floor,
sort of
yeah.
a matrix of, or some sort of a path, whereas they would, they would issue something, right, with X amount of time. We do this with a water service or something else, and if it's not fixed, then the town has to fix it to make sure it's public safety, then we turn around and have to find some way to bill them.
Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, I went to Barry's office because I had a conversation with Mary DeVries. She says, geez, you know, you sound passionate about these cracks that are on the sidewalk in front of the bridge and in front of the Avery Insurance off to the side over there, these circles. And you guys were down there this spring, cut these areas open. I could see what the cement was half poured and, you know, the guys went off and do another job. So are you guys liable at that point? You see what I'm saying? It's like, it seems like there's a kind of a double.
Well, if it's a town sidewalk, right, then the town is liable, 100%. And we've had people trip and fall on sidewalks, and they've filed claims and those things. So, which is why, I mean, we work on them about 1 day a week, right? Because then we have other public safety issues somewhere else, so we try to do that. So to try to spread ourselves out, because we are thin for what we have. So we try to bite off a little bit of everything all the time, right? So as much as I would love to just say, okay, we're going to work downtown and we're going to get all these sidewalks done, it's not feasible, because then we get something else that's a problem. So by taking these bites off of things as we can, and that's why Bruce is down there, Bruce and the guy are down there at least once a week doing these crack filling on these other ones that belong to us. Is the ones that don't belong to us, again, we, Public Works, and I as director don't have any say over what is on private property.
So in a related question, when the water line work was being done, there was a lot of knocking on the doors by Stantec DOT, their representative. Yep. So when the sidewalks were being done, was there knocking on the doors?
Absolutely. We met
So
to every business.
I'm just trying to lead the witness here. There was knocking on the doors that said, we're going to be improving that sidewalk. And for people who own some of that property, at that point, were they given an option of, you probably want to think of, we can't tell them what to do, but they knew that we were improving the sidewalk. Okay.
Yeah. And I will say every business that we dealt with down there, that the work we did affected them, were fantastic to work with. Every one of them was great. They would come out.
It's in their best interest to make their front of their business look good, right?
But not even that. Just in general, they're just great people. Their businesses were great. They were great to the guys. To just, we were disrupting everything they were doing. We were disrupting parking, everything, and they did it all with a smile and a thank you, and they were fantastic.
But John's question remains on the table and unanswered, that if there is a piece of private land that has, spalling or whatever in the infrastructure, what do we do about that? We tell them that that's probably unsafe and they have to fix it.
That would be my suggestion.
The only reason that I asked that question is because I remember Bruce fixing that spot in front of Bradley's a couple of years ago when he talked about his epoxy cement that he had. So one of those spots is the spot that opened up, and that's why I asked that question.
And I think, right, wrong, or indifferent, John, some of the attitude in town has changed. So we have people that, well, public safety, let's fix it. We have don't touch that, that's not yours. I don't want my tax money to fix it. And then you have us in the middle, right? So the only way that I will do it is by looking at it straight at the thing and say, we don't own it, we don't touch it. That's the fairest way to do that, unless you folks want to say, hey, look, we've got a problem with public safety on this, you need to look at it, and we send them a bill.
Right.
Or whatever.
We have, sometimes I hear citizens that say, that building in town looks shabby, it needs paint. Well, that's the building and the building owner's problem, it's not ours. Now, if the building has boards falling off it that are landing on our sidewalks, now that becomes our problem. So we can't force a private company or private owner to make his sidewalk perfect. If it's dangerous, I agree. And the code enforcement usually happens by someone bringing that issue to our code officer. So it would have to be someone walking, it would have to be a neighbor, it would have to be somebody who says, that is a mess, and goes to the code officer. That's the way code things usually happen. The other thing I noticed, and I talked to business owners downtown, was that wooden boards were put in place so that all businesses were still accessible. And the sidewalks were not only painted with arrows that said, we're going from here to here, but it actually said that the day that they were doing it. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, it was very, very apparent. One business owner came up to me as I was walking in their business and said, when are they doing my sidewalks? And I said, you know what? I just saw something. Come here. And walked her out, and she looked and she goes, oh, Tuesday, they're going to go right here. And I said, yes, and I've been told they will make sure that your door is accessible. And she was like, great, thank you. And
all the business owners were fantastic, so just a quick little shout out to them.
Good. Okay, so anything else? If not, let's move to small sewer pump station repairs.
Yep, so again, we're meeting with Wood and Kern tomorrow to go over that, that final proposal. You know, just
And
some
these
back
would be
history
like
on
Clark
this.
Road and other places out
Correct.
there. In the
Some back history on
Sewell.
this. We started this last year to get us to start to do an eval and to also keep them running. So we've paid the eval, or most of it. We still have some money due. We have bought a couple pumps and just to keep going. We've identified which one is next, which is a mushroom. And so some of this money will now start to go towards planning and permitting as we go. My goal is to pay for plan sets and permitting out of all of these monies as we do this each year. Then when we get to the point of construction, you know, some of these are $1.2 million. Some of them are 300. So as we go, we'll sit down and we'll look at that and start to put that in. Now, I have them already into that 10-year plan, so you'll see when they come through. But that's how I envision this. This 100,000 is going to, each year, I'm going to put it in. This will allow us to keep all of those little ones running and still start to permitting and planning so that we're ahead of the game.
Brian?
What is the life expectancy of our new sewer pump stations? I'm just curious as if this is going to be a recurring, we're going to have to do one every 2 years, every 3 years, every 5 years.
No. Well, we're going to have to do them all for a bit, and
Yeah.
then we'll have a big space these should outlive me.
And that big space is when we should still be,
Putting a little away.
yes, for a rainy
when
day.
you start again, because the downside of doing these all in a span of 10 years is the fact that when it comes due again, we're going to have to do them all in 10 years.
30 years after that, or 25 years after that, we're going to have to do all
Now-
of them again.
Technology is better, things are better, hopefully life expectancy is better. We'll get more longevity out of them.
So I think, you know, this is a fund the depreciation question. If this thing has a useful life of 10 years and you spent $100 to keep it at the $100, if it gets $10 a year,
Right.
you should be salting away $10.
Correct.
Right? As a funding for your depreciation. Same with your buildings.
Yes.
It's funding depreciation.
Yes.
That way there's no big surprise when it's all done. Linda?
But that's getting the plans, that's setting up the capital reserve funds and funding them in with all the other projects we need to do. So we need a big picture of where we need to be with all those.
Correct.
So that-
To get a
that's
handle on how much of this can we really save now? That's
Correct.
That, you know, that's look, the question, I mean, you could drive, personal opinion, you can drive yourself crazy trying to figure out how to fund depreciation on a $100,000 item, or you could drive yourself crazy saying, we have a $5 million item, we need to fund that depreciation. Pick, you know, you can do
Right.
both, but pick the ones that are really important so that you get the funding and the taxpayer gets a break, so that at the end of it, it's not what, boom, it's not a big hit.
So in my opinion, I think we fund the 100,000 to keep the ball rolling, and then we fund each station as they come up. And once they are all done, then you can have the depreciation question.
John?
So doesn't it also come down to usage? So when we have properties that build out, then we are actually using the pumps up faster?
To some extent, yes. Yeah, capacity. It all comes back to capacity. And it comes back to the other bigger question of capacity in general of the town. The easier part of these smaller stations is those areas are pretty well built out, so they're not really going to expand. The one that I would have concerned of would be Laner and Mill, because those are the ones that take everything. Mill takes everything. or 99% of it.
So the answer to John's question is, the sunk cost for the asset is X.
Right.
One asset may get used a lot, ergo its useful life is shorter
Correct.
than somebody who doesn't get a lot. So you fund it based upon the useful life of the asset.
Right.
You got it.
Just,
Pretty easy.
Not hard to do.
just for
No,
a
that's
quick,
very how you do it.
just for a quick
That's
We
example,
do it.
Well,
a quick example
that
is we have
comes
some
back to
pump stations in town now that we're actually, when we replace them, we're going to replace them with an E1 because we can do that now. When those were put in, that wasn't an option. So they're going to save us a ton of money now. The maintenance on them are much easier and much less. The replacement cost is much less. So as technology changes, that changes the whole board anyway. And hopefully in 30 years, it'll be your guys' stuff.
So I'm
Yeah.
thinking about Clark Road. So does Brewster Academy's dorms, does that come down Clark
Comes
Road?
down. That comes down from Clark. Everything in that whole complex goes to the Clark Road. So there's the one that we call the Mushroom, which is out on Greenleaf. That pumps into that. Then that Clark Road pumps up, and then gravity feeds down over the hill down into Lena.
Okay. Treatment plant upgrades.
So Josh is.
Nope.
Just one more quick one. When a large pump station is moving effluent,
Yep.
is it under pressure?
Yes. Those are pumps.
How much pressure is in the line?
Depends on the. They're all different. So,
They're all different.
For instance, Mill Street, those pumps are rated at 790 a minute.
How does that compare to water?
Well, so this town is interesting because
They're all gravity.
most everything we have is gravity.
Well, gravity.
Here, we're gravity from the plant all the way down. The only place we have a booster station is at Barry's complex that goes up Middleton Road.
Okay. So most of it is gravity, and what's the pressure in a water line, a water main compared?
So that depends as well. Over town, we have anywhere from 120 down to 90. Well, we're 30 up on Hemlock, right? 30 pounds up on Hemlock.
Okay. Just interesting,
Downtown's
fun
130.
facts.
If you're coming down the road from the transfer station, you've got a lot of pressure.
Right. So
By
there's
the way,
a
that's the color code of your hydrants, right?
Right.
Your hydrants
So-
will tell you what the pressure is.
at the corner of Beach Pond Road at the cemetery. It's the PRV, which is where the pressure reducing valves are. We actually have to lower the pressure because it gains so much coming down.
Now, doesn't it come down to the location, like this sewer line that goes down through here, and then you have peak so that everybody's using their showers at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
the flow
it's-
is maxing out at that
Right.
point.
So what we base everything off of is average, right? Average for the day. So we know what the average gallons per minute are that come through Mill Street. Mill Street handles 99.9% of the town, right? And then we know what, like this run out here, for example, is probably 10%, maybe 15% of the town on this main line. Because you only start up here at the church, just above the church, runs down, like you said, and then you have very little bit behind us. Hunters comes out, but then the back half of Hunters goes to School Street, and School Street runs back down Glendon and around the loop and hits the siphons that go underneath. So, and then Laner Street pumps up and goes through the siphons that go underneath Back Bay into that. So this run down through here. So it all depends on where it is. You know, this
So
is a
where's-
10-inch line.
Brian?
So I guess this line coming down here, during peak use, would the pipe be filled all the way top to bottom?
No.
Does it run half, third?
The most we've ever seen it is probably half.
And that's with scopes?
Yeah, and just pulling the covers. So I mean,
Pulling the
they're
covers.
in there a lot because we have grease buildup and we have other issues.
So this line is about that, but there are lines where it's got a lot more.
That's if they're under pressure.
If they're under pressure.
You're never going to find, if you have a gravity line that's full, that's a problem. It means undersized.
Okay.
So the pump lines, the force mains, they're full. So there's one on Clark Road, right? That's a force main. And even the houses down from the pump station all the way down to the park, those are individual pumps that pump up on a force main. You know, your gravity from the hospital and the public safety building and the high school, all that stuff is all gravity, runs down that other line, like I said, runs down. And
Remember, I'm a closet septic and sewer enthusiast.
good for you. That's great.
That's a bad visual. Wastewater treatment plant upgrades, please?
Same thing, like I said before, Wood and Kern's working on their stuff. They have some pumps and some other things that are teed up for them to purchase. I'll have a better list of that probably in October. Next one is water treatment plant.
Thank you.
So far, Josh has just bought a couple chemical pumps. We have some money encumbered to help offset the cost of the valve pit, because that 100,000 is not going to cut it. So we have money into that. And we should finish out that with some other items he has on his wish list. We have a problem possibly with the solar bee, and Josh can talk to that a little bit more if you want some more information on the solar.
With the what?
Solar bee.
Okay.
So the 500,000 gallon tank at the high school, there's a mixer in that tank, and that keeps everything uniform, like the chlorine residual, the temperature, and
Russian?
yep. So that mixture has failed, and we're trying to get quotes on what it takes to repair that. It is 18 years old, so I'm trying to work on a quote. You know, it's rated for 20, so it's pretty much at its useful life. I'm looking at what it's going to cost to fix it and or just replace the whole thing.
Yeah, so here's the killer question to me. Did we salt away money to feed the kitty for that replacement?
No.
Nope.
So
Okay.
what we have is we have our replacement plan of $100,000 a year to fix things such as this. That's what that money's for. We have the asset management plan for the plant. That is well outdated.
So you've shared with us that we need to be, accruing, my word, for these things.
Well, we are.
Because we have a learning that if you don't, you're going to get a big surprise.
It is, and as long as when Josh and I put together this $100,000 ask that we started with last year, what we did is we looked at the replacement plan, the asset management plan for the plan. It says $5,000 for this and $10,000 for this, but we looked at it and said, well, that should have been replaced 10 years ago. This should have been done 15 years ago. We took it and we said, let's do $100,000, and then we'll start replacing the things that are broken and that break, and then we'll start to get onto the proactive things that need to be done. Like, for instance, that generator, according to the replacement plan, the generator at the plant should be replaced. There's nothing wrong with that generator. So we're not going to spend the money to replace that just because the thing says that we should, when we know we have things that are broken that take priority. We're playing catch up, 100%, but we're doing it in a smart way.
Well,
John?
so you said it's broken right now, the solar bee. So how long's it been broken?
It's a couple months.
So does it degrade the water quality because you don't do a test after that?
We do.
You do?
Yeah, we test quality at the Middleton Road booster station.
So if it was on the plan, would you normally fix it before it breaks?
Yeah.
We do.
But it wasn't part of the 2017 asset management plan.
So what did you have it, I mean, how much did it,
Different places.
what was the time frame where it broke sooner than you thought?
2 years.
Yeah.
So next time you would be replacing it after 15 years, so it didn't go 18 years?
Kind of strip things up.
So that's one of those things of you fix, right? When it comes to things like that, we want those replaced before they're broken, obviously. But where do you draw that line with how many things? Because we could argue a ton of things we should be replacing before they're broken, but that is certainly one of them, which is why he's been, trying to get that squared away here the last 2 months. But
John, this
again,
this is the whiteboard.
This is the whiteboard, Paul.
This is the whiteboard. All right. Where do you want to go next, Steve?
I believe that is all of the updates. Unless anybody has any questions, we can move on to the other stuff.
Any questions? Let's move on.
All right. So for CIP, and after our meeting a month or so back, whenever it was, we sat down and we said, okay, they're telling us we need to focus on our infrastructure. We need to put money into it. how much money do we put into it? How much can we get done? Where do we go and how do we do it? So we started simple with, okay, what do we spend every year? Or what do we want every year? Not a dollar amount, but project-wise, right? So that's how we started. Town road upgrades, we think we should put money into our sidewalks every year. We think we should put money for tree work every year. I have a solid waste roll-off. I've been trying to do that for the last few years. And we have our vehicle capital reserves. And trying to get that's been decimated and been kind of discarded over the last couple of years, and it's showing. So I put all those on a list, and I said, okay, well, let's start with this. How much money do we think we can do on sidewalk improvements each year? I plugged that in. Plugged in tree work. I looked at the roll-off, and I looked at the vehicle capital reserve. I'll get to the roads after. I went through our vehicle capital reserve plan, our replacement plan. I redid the whole thing again. I've downsized the fleet again, based off of what I think we can actually get away with and do. Put a number to it, and that's where I came up with 400. And I have that pretty flat over the years. But then I went up to the town road upgrades, because that's where the big money is, right? We did 900,000 this year, we did 900,000 last year. Our replacement plan says we should be at 1.4 to 1.5 by now, without inflation. So I looked at that and I said, okay, what would be a reasonable jump to try to get us some progress without huge sticker shock, right? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to be able to, the voters have to buy into this. So we started looking at that. And if you click on your project list tab or sheet, you see what I did and see how I broke it down. I broke it down to shim and overlays, reclaim and rebuilds that we would do. And what I mean by that is like what we're doing on Beach Pond Road, which is basically reclaim it, replace the culverts, some gravel down, repave it. Chip seal and preservation, and then a full rebuild from an outside company, which is anything that would be what I would deem to be too big for us, and where I would prefer us to get to at some point soon. And those are the categories I broke it up to. And then I assigned roads to it based on where we're at. And you'll see.
Yeah, no, I didn't get that page.
No, you did. It was tiny. I couldn't even read it in the back of the first
So-
packet we had. And
I put some color codes in there if it had a water main project to it.
Hang on, Steve. Hang on.
I'll just sit with you.
because that really lays it out, but I couldn't read it the way we got it.
This is
I have a question.
a squint chart was produced.
Oh,
So-
I'm sorry, I don't print. I just email.
Yeah,
Hang on, Brian?
So I got a question.
Sure.
We're $900,000 a year, and plus warrant articles for total road expenses.
No, that was the warrant article, 900,000 for
It
roads.
was 900,
Nine of the, okay, and then how much do we have in maintenance?
380.
Maintenance is a whole different item. So if you want to break down to what the highway maintenance budget is, and that's entirely different work than this. But the highway maintenance budget is 1.6 million, of which $1 million of that is to turn the lights on. I always
Okay.
want to throw that out there.
All right.
All right, that leaves 600,000.
Yep,
Sand, salt, and everything else is about 300 grand, right? And then repairs are pushing 200 grand. It doesn't leave us with a whole lot of money to do much of anything, honestly.
Okay.
So it allows us to fill some potholes, buy diesel fuel. My plow edge, we just placed an order for one round of carbides. One round of carbides for the trucks is $14,000.
so I'm wondering
And we
if
go through 4 to 5 of those a year.
I'm wondering if we just take and we build into the budget 1.2, 1.3 million. Build it into the budget, still give an itemization of the work that you're going to do, but build it into the budget instead of in a warrant article.
I personally like the warrant article better because it keeps the money separate, and I think that's important.
Linda?
Yeah, we got into this a while ago, and what happened when it was in the budget, you're short money, it's big money, it gets used somewhere
Correct.
else.
And that's why I don't want to do that.
and at
It's
that-
very, I don't mean to cut you off, it's very easy and very transparent the way it is right now. This money goes to this money goes to this.
And this was based on a taxpayer association who made it very clear to us that they wanted this out in a warrant article. We can change it, but that was put out there because of the citizens requesting us to do that.
Anybody else? John?
So putting it in individual warrant articles or a bulk warrant article that just basically, again, you're saying you're going to spend this much money on this road, you're guaranteed to spend that much money on that road, and then if they all fail, then all the roads fail.
So
It's a risk you take, right?
my concern on that would be is if you did it on a road by road basis, you take a road that some people might not live on, people are going to start to pick and choose the roads that they want paved.
No,
Correct.
no,
Or
I'm
be rebuilt.
saying put them all in one, but
100%.
but list them all and say, if they all go down, they all go down, or they all pass, they all pass.
Well, that's how we do it now.
Yeah,
I mean, so when I present mine now, I do a list of the roads that are on it. These are the roads we're gonna pave. They voted on it. They pass it, yes, they don't, we don't do any. It's pass or fail.
so you have to bump those up then.
What, the numbers?
Yeah,
Oh, 100%. Well, that's why now it's 1.8 million. That's what I went to, 1.8 million for next year. I doubled it.
See, I got a, these are gross I don't mean gross like I want to throw up, but these are gross numbers, okay? And that's good because you've priced out what you think you need to do. And I think that we want to start to move towards the gross numbers compared to what? Cost per mile paved, cost per whatever, so that people can look, I can look, you can look. We do this, we discriminate every day, and I don't mean that in a sexual or racial way, but we discriminate. We say, is it worth money, my time and money, because the cost per to do that is competitive? That's what people are asking us to explain to them. Are what we doing, and I don't mean is it
Compared to what?
competitive? Yeah, I don't know. What's the
But
cost?
you-
What's the right metric that we would share with the public that says, I want you to approve N number of dollars, and by doing that, my cost per road mile paved, my cost per whatever the right metric is, goes from here to here. That's how people can find out, my view, whether we're getting better over time or just spending more money over time.
Well, I think the proof is in the fact that you have a road that, well, let's use Wambeck Road. Over the last
Oh,
two,
no, I'll cry.
no, but over the last 2 years, how many times have you asked about fixing one? In jest, I don't wanna, you're not doing anything
And obviously, you've
inappropriate, blah,
answered the
blah, blah.
question by not fixing it, but that's a different issue.
But do you see what I'm saying? People want the roads fixed. Our greatest financial asset in this town is our infrastructure and our roads. So it behooves the town to upgrade them because it makes everything worth more, too.
Yeah, I'm asking you to think about
I'm not,
an efficiency metric.
well, I can give you the PCI
Hang on,
value of
hang
the
on.
roads.
I'm
We
asking
have
you to
those.
think about efficiency metrics that says if I'm asking for a dollar of capital or a dollar of expense, you're going to see at the corresponding in an efficiency metric, okay? So that people can look at that and say, they're getting more efficient over time, okay? Or their efficiencies are competitive, and I'll, business term, they're consistent with, they look like how other organizations, cities, towns get it done. In our work plan, I call that best practices.
So I understand what you're asking.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how I can translate that
I'm not asking you to do it now.
because it's the quality. The quality is going to be the key metric in that. It's not well, my maintenance cost to maintain a mile will go less because I'm using less plow edges because the road's not all beat up. It's the fact that you're going to drive over the road and you're not going to need new fillings.
Brian?
I don't know how you quantify that.
Yeah, so I think that's a hard thing to quantify because depending on the road, the year, the condition of the road, he's going to have to do a lot more on one project and a lot less on another project.
All that is done. We already have all that figured out. We have a nice little 3-ring book that has all of that done.
Yeah.
That part is done. I think what he's trying to say is, how am I supposed to say, okay, now that we've paved this road, I don't have to spend as much money on it?
Look,
Is that,
I'm going to make a decision when I go pull the lever. And if it's always a question for me is, am I getting for my tax dollar, am I getting a benefit? And if someone says to me, you get more benefit over here, and I can't figure out what the benefit is over there, you know where I'm going.
So what he was saying, I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, is he's saying that if we pave 15 miles of road this year, how much per mile was it when we spent X? If we pave 17 miles or 18 or 20 miles of road next year, was it the same per mile or less per mile? But that's hard because your expenses are going to go up.
in general, I can tell you, if we had done this work in 2019, we could have done it for 50% less. It costs
Correct.
50% more to do it now than it did then.
Correct.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. And it's going to fluctuate from year to year. When oil's $4,
It's never going to get any cheaper.
well, when oil's $4.25 a gallon, asphalt is going to be more money.
I'm
isn't
just
it?
trying to figure out how to give you what you're asking
So
for.
my esteemed
I think
colleague,
it's very difficult or impossible.
Well,
my esteemed colleague, student body Wright, just leaned over and said, then you're not explaining it well enough, so I'll park it for the moment.
Ducks and bunnies, Paul.
Yeah, I'll
Crayons.
park it for the moment. I will take, and this guy here is saying the same, it could be a too hard can't do, and I think John's going to try to bail me out, but I'll park it for the moment, John.
so if you took a road that's a mile long and you put 2 inches of asphalt on that road, that would only last so long.
Correct.
If you took that mile road and put 3 inches on it, it would last much longer, and that would be buying you time, because the surface would have a longevity longer than
Correct.
the normal amount that you would normally put on.
I mean, I can bring easy cost per mile, those things, that's not an issue.
You know,
but I
that
don't
could be a
think that's
ding,
what he's
ding, ding,
asking.
we got a winner here, that, you know, one of the metrics could be, we're building our roads. I'm just trying to figure out how we can share with people. We're building our roads, and the way in which we're going to design, engineer, do these things on a complete streets basis, we're building our roads so their useful life, if we rebuild them, is 15 years.
Okay, that, yes. And if you, when we get to our
You know
road, when we get to our road portion of our stuff, it has our pavement
Thank you for
thicknesses,
bailing me out.
it has our gravels, and it breaks down, okay, a full road rebuild, we shouldn't have to touch it for 15 years. At the 15-year mark, ideally, we have to chip seal it. Sometimes have to do a little sooner. Middleton Road, it hit 12 years, we chipped it, right? But if it all holds well, we won't have to touch that for another 5 or 6 years. Maybe we chip it again. We get to 20 years before we have to top it,
And
right?
thank you, Linda and Brian, for
Is that-
politely saying that I'm goofy.
So Paul, so that all comes down to quality once again.
Yes.
It's a quality
all
metric.
quality.
There you
So
go.
the more quality you put into something, the longer it's going to last.
Yeah.
And when you go skinny on something and try to stretch over more areas, those larger areas will all fail
Yes.
at about the same time, and you'll be behind the curve again.
So let's,
Let Brian punctuate.
I think part of it is there's a diminishing return.
yes.
Because if you put 6 inches or 5 inches of asphalt on something,
Exactly.
they're probably going to last the same, you know what I mean?
So let's use, for example, let's use Stoneham Road, right? Stoneham Road from the top of the hill out to Brookfield was redone in, I think it was 2019. 19. Put 4 inches of gravel on it. It's cracked. Needs to be chipped already. We put 8 to 12 on when we're doing these now. We are using 2.5 inches of binder, 1.5 inches of overlay. So we're getting 4 inches of asphalt. A lot of towns only use 3, they do 2 and 1. Dave started at 2.5 and 1.5. I think it's fantastic. That is a standard. We do the same thing. We haven't changed that. We could save a little bit of money if we wanted to skinny that up, but to John's point, why would we do that? We're just gonna have to do it that much sooner. So it's all in what you invest in doing it the proper way, or the best way that you can,
and it's the law of diminishing returns.
Of
You
course.
get to a certain
Yeah, you're not
point
gonna put
where...
6 inches of asphalt on the road,
Correct.
it's not gonna do
Yeah,
any good.
putting another half inch is not going to gain you what the cost of the material is.
So I want to thank my colleagues for pointing out to you that we can't problem solve in real time, especially I can't. But I also want to say that the quality metric, which was offered, something around for every dollar you get a hunk of quality back,
Yep.
is the right way to start looking at things,
So-
or to look at things, not to start, to look at things.
Back to the,
Thank
back
you
to
for
the
that, John.
sheet. So if you look at the sheet, I don't know if she printed yours in color or not.
I had her print mine in color.
Okay, so you'll see that there's a bunch of roads that have blue on them. Blue means a water main.
Yep,
Yep.
You'll also see one that has an S in green.
yep.
In parentheses, there's an S next to it. That means sewer. Means we're gonna do a sewer. Some of them are blue and green, which means we're gonna do water and sewer. And it's basically, it's set up with, you know, a year we'll do one, and a project, it will be, you know, drainage. If it's got a water main or sewer, whatever the infrastructure underneath has to get done, it'll get a binder course to it, and it'll sit. They usually, I think I have them sitting for 2 years. I use winter binder. I like everything to sit, because that gives everything a chance to settle out if it needs to, and we can re-shim when we put the top coat on. So you'll see as these go through, it's build, and then it's, you know, overlay build, overlay build, overlay build. You know, it's top coat build, and everything flows around town in an order to stay away from all these other big projects that everybody else is doing, right? So there is a method to it. It's all based off of those things which will get you. They're vintage mains, known lead or suspected lead. Let me rephrase that, suspected lead, because nothing ever hits for lead, but it's all part of our inventory we have to do, and we have to dig it up to check the inventory. All of this flows in that way. Does that make sense?
Sure,
Don't patronize me.
sure.
All right, moving on. That takes care of the roads and the big ticket number.
So can I just offer one thing? So the cost per mile to pave a road, Linda, you're going to tell me I'm being opaque again. The cost per mile to pave a road is in inverse relation to the quality you get. You want to go cheap and your cost per mile goes down, your quality goes down.
Correct.
So there's some one of these, you know, things that say you pick the sweet spot.
Correct.
Okay, you pick the optimal cost trade-off.
Which is what I did.
I got it. Now, if that gets to be a visual, okay, then it's powerful, right? Because then people will go, okay, they've made the trade-offs. The next question will be compared to a best practice. I'm going to keep thumping on this until I can explain it to myself.
That's okay. I am only proposing best practice. I'm not proposing cheap.
No, I know you're not.
So, but I just want that to be known.
I know you're not.
I'm not proposing cheap. I don't see the point.
Okay.
But for number 3, the law of diminishing returns.
Oh my God.
You have a break-even point where you can keep making it better and better, and you're not going to get
Right.
back.
It doesn't get better over time, no
Correct.
matter how much you throw money at it. Got it.
Correct.
So I think that pretty well covers that. Do we want to go over the replacement list of the vehicles? Do you guys want to get into the weeds on that? I mean, you tell me where you want to go and what you want to do. Well, we can go to the sewer, which has big number stuff, or project lists. You folks got to tell me what.
Board members, Linda?
I'll just make one comment about the vehicle. I really like the fact you're going to 6-wheelers and getting out of the 10-wheeler. Makes all the sense in the world. I find it readable. I don't need you to explain it to me.
Okay.
Ryan, Dave, John, vehicle question?
Go
So-
three
Yeah,
years out.
I'm sorry?
Go 3 years. Go for the next 3 years. Explain us to the next
The
3 years.
vehicles?
Yeah.
Yep, no problem. Let me open it up, John. Give me a sec. So, oh, you know what? And I skipped this on our capital update. We're replacing HD7 this year. That truck should be delivered sometime the end of September. That's the one we get the grant for. So that's done. That's the first one on this list. 2027, the ask is going to be $400,000. I'm looking to replace 2 things. One is HD11. which is actually out of service now. We're going to replace that with a six-wheeler. And then the large lift, this is another good point. This capital reserve account covers all of Public Works, not just the Highway Department. So this covers the Solid Waste Department, so the comps, the balers, the skid steers at the dump. This covers all the big equipment that's in Ben and Ducky's garage. So next year, we have that 60,000 pound lift that is well past its expiration date that we need to replace. That is what, I mean, he picks up everything with the 10-wheelers, the fire trucks, all of that. So all this money has to cover all of that, not just the trucks for the highway department. So I think that's a distinction that we need to make sure that everybody understands. It's not just new trucks for the highway department. Water and sewer has its own separate stuff that's built into the enterprise funds. This is Public Works. So next year, HD11 and that 60,000 pound lift. Right now, I'm carrying $100,000 for that. That's the last estimate we got on it. What that will do is, with 285 allotted to the dump truck, that will allow us to keep a $15,000 running balance, right? So we can start to build, and I want to start to build that account up. So my goal is to, you know, we asked for 400, we're spending a little less next year. The year, that would be 27. 28, we're looking at HD3, which is a 10-wheeler. We're going to get rid of that and downsize that to a 6-wheeler. That's going to also save us $120,000 a year. So a brand new 10-wheeler is pushing 400 grand. And I don't believe they're needed anymore. Replacing a skid steer at the solid waste. Again, we're going to ask for 400, we're going to spend 385, which now will accumulate about $30,000 in our account. We go out to 29, same thing, another 6-wheeler and a pickup. We're going to spend 365, so we're going to save some. We're going to start to accumulate over the next few years to build up that account. So when we get down here, I know you said 3 years, John, but for example, I'm just going to go a little more. When we get down here a couple more years, I'm going to start spending more than what I asked for. But that way I can keep the funding level, or as level as humanly possible over the next 10 years.
So how does that incorporate into repairing our water lines?
Repairing what, John?
Repairing our water lines. How does this equipment work with replacing our infrastructure?
So this maintains our infrastructure, right? This maintain these. So the lift, right? So the lift in Ben's garage is what allows him to keep everything in town moving, right? MED trucks, fire trucks, police cars, dump trucks. That's the backbone of infrastructure, right? Our dump trucks need to be upgraded and replaced. Our equipment needs to be upgraded and replaced because that's what keeps the roads open, the roads maintained. They're not going to be putting in the new water mains, but they're the ones that are going to fix the water leaks. They're the ones that fix everything, right? They're the ones that keep the town running.
So
I think the question, if I could, John, I think the question, which is there, you know, you're pointing to a indirect relationship to some of the investments you think we should make, and there's a question over here that says, is there places where you can point to a direct relationship between some of the investments? Was that vague?
Yeah.
Well,
Was it vague?
so
Was that what I was asking?
Yeah.
That's right. You want to see.
Yeah.
You want to see more, not more. You want to see this has a direct relationship on the water. This has an indirect relationship.
Well, most of highway, I would say, would be indirect, but directly, every time we have a water leak, when we dig a hole, we have to put the dirt in something. So what we're digging the hole with comes out of the Public Works Department. The material that gets hauled in and out comes from the Public Works Department. So that would be a direct.
Linda?
Yeah, and if we were going to replace a water main, we would put that out to bid.
That goes
in a
out to
big-
bid. Yeah,
a
we're not
separate
going to
contract.
do
So
the
it-
water mains.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be in here.
So
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so one more point. So when you talked about the lift, we're working on the fire department, we're working on the police department, so shouldn't these guys all be chipping in a little bit?
Well, I mean, for me, I look at that and say, you know, as far as, I mean, they pay for their pieces and parts, but it's all going to come out of their general fund. So I mean, if you wanted to do a separate warrant article for the lift and I redo the matrix again, I mean, whatever. But that's just how it's set up right now, is everything that we buy over that threshold comes out of that account.
I actually think that probably wouldn't be a bad idea, to tell you the truth. 'Cause
Brian?
Well, they
So,
do get billed.
so departments do share,
Hang on.
departments do share equipment a little bit, and, I mean, the fire department used their truck to repair the roof on the town hall.
Correct.
The DPW helps sometimes with plowing for Parks and Rec, don't
Yeah,
they?
we treat the parking
Yeah,
lots
and
things.
so-
I mean, we all work together. So, I
Correct.
mean, we don't charge for our labor in the garage. But if Barry's trucks come in and they need brakes, they need this, they need that, he pays for all of that.
Barry, were you going to make a point?
I'm good, thanks.
So John's asking that there's a couple of kinds of costs in an operation. There's shared costs and there's common costs. And a shared cost is, we're sharing it. Common is, it's across the enterprise.
So,
The question then becomes, how do you do you want to do a system of allocations of costs? And, that can be a discussion.
I did
Question is,
ask,
are we solving a big problem? And I'm not minimizing your comment. Are you solving a big problem or a small problem?
Well, so what I'm thinking about is your hit. You're taking the hit solely. And if these other departments are getting the funds, I'm thinking that you would have more money to do other things, that we should be doing more things in your department.
so I asked a few years back about splitting up this capital reserve fund so that there was one for the highway, one for solid waste, one for the garage. And I don't know how far we went with that other than me asking. I think that's because that's probably a thing. But either way, John, it doesn't, to me, the lift needs to get replaced. So whether or not Barry kicks in, 10%, if you want to look at it, Public Works or Highway is the largest department we have as far as vehicles and maintenance and things like that. It dwarfs the rest of them combined, so it uses it the most.
It's a shared and common cost.
But it's a shared,
It is, but again, it will take away from the roads and the other aspect. When you balloon a certain aspect of the department, you take away from another part of the department.
You have to appropriate
Go
for
ahead,
it.
Linda.
Yeah, it's 2 hours. That's usually what we say with a meeting. And we have more to do, and I just think we should take that to another meeting
Okay.
and have that
Nope.
discussion in more depth.
Any objection to that?
Nope.
All right, let's do it. Keep going.
so that went out 3 or 4 years. We good with the vehicles then? Project list I went over. Water department, I broke that down the same way. What I see spending each year and on what. I put water mains in there, each water main. And you can see it gets more money as we get going depending on the roads. Sewer, the same thing. Sewer hits, for example, South Main Sewer is on here for 27. It's $4.5 million project. 28 is the first pump station, and then I did a pump station every other year. I just put it in there as placeholders. We can adjust. I tried to do it in years where other things weren't in there to try to not make the pricing spike as much.
So you said this project out here is $4.5 million?
For the sewer main.
Okay, that was a $10 million number. I think Brian threw that out there, so that's not the number.
10, including the water and the drainage. It was a $10 million project. Originally, when we started, it might go up to 11.
Originally, before I got here, the talk was $3 million to do the complete streets, and I don't know where that number came from.
Linda?
And now we're up over 10.
It's a 3-phase project.
But it's a 3-phase
and
project.
We're doing
So-
phase 2.
Right now, the construction estimate is $4.5 million to replace the sewer main. From there, down into Mill Street. The drainage part of that, which would be phase 3, is all of that, including into a dockside. It's probably, by the time we get there, we'll probably be pushing 6.
Okay, so that's a whiteboard, Paul.
That's the 10 million for those
Big
two
whiteboard.
projects.
Right. Those are, yes.
So the point of this,
They've been on
this
our
thing
plans
is,
for a while.
you know, numbers
We were
get
working on
bopped
before.
around and they scare people. Okay? And not by design, but they do, right?
Well, they're real.
When someone first proffered the public safety building, I remember saying that was an eye-popping expense number, right? So we look forward to getting some clarity as to how this gets laid out. Public gets told, here's how it's going to work, and then the big ask is going to be, what do you want to do about it?
So there's one thing that I've said since I've been here, and I'll say it again. I will never put forward a project that is not the proper number. Okay, I would rather bring forth a $4.5 million sewer project that I believe is an accurate number and have people say, no, we don't want to spend that money.
Yeah.
Then bring one forward that's $2 million and get halfway through it and say, we need more money, because that's not accurate. I believe we need to design the project and then fund it to what it is, not the other way around. We can't just pick a number and then do a project to fit it. I think that's a very important difference.
Dave, did you have your hand up? Thought I saw you out of the corner of my eye. Keep going. Keep going.
No, I
thought we were done.
want accurate numbers. Now, $4.5 million, if we don't touch that for 3 years, that $4.5 million will be accurate.
Just gets bigger,
It's just going to get bigger,
and the problem doesn't go away.
and the problem
It
does not
doesn't.
go away.
It's not like wine. It doesn't get better.
Correct. None of our problems are going to get better, and none of them are going to get cheaper.
Okay.
That's probably
that
sounds
will,
cold,
that will bring
but
an intense scrutiny of, what am I getting? What's the outcomes?
100%,
You
and
know,
I think
all of
that's
that, and deservedly
valid.
so, right?
That is 100% valid. That's 100% valid. We
Okay.
have documentation, we have engineering reports, we have all these things that tell us what we should be doing and how much money we have to spend to do it.
Good.
The question is whether we can do it or not, and that's a valid question too. Just because we have to, where's the have come between can? You know?
Should I tell him my wife's hungry?
Sometimes you have to put a tarp on your roof because you got a hole in it and you can't afford to put shingles on it. So that's,
Okay.
my job is to give you the numbers and give you the backup for it. And that's what we're trying to do.
What else you got?
So that's the 10,000 foot view of all of this.
Next steps.
We're looking at roughly 60 million. You want to throw a big number out, a little over 10 years. When you break it down, it's not horrendous. I mean, it's a lot. I'm not downplaying that. But for what it is, I mean, we have a $3.5 million pump station alone we're building, so infrastructure is expensive. It's not hundreds of millions. It certainly could be. I can tell you in 2037, if we were to follow this plan through, in 2037, I would roughly say we will be 8 years behind.
You can count on us being behind.
Huh?
I said we can count on us being behind.
Oh,
It
we
is
can't.
because we can't.
Well, we're way further than that now. So we can't, it's not feasible for a town to think that they can overcome the amount of infrastructure work that needs to get, and we're not alone. We're really not. There's a lot of towns that are going through this. They really are. So it's not feasible to think that all this stuff can get fixed at once. I know it can't. What this is a look at what could be, or what I hope we could do to stay on what I think is a reasonable path. I said this to a couple of you the other day. I look around and I say, okay, we have our ambulances now, we have our fire station now, we have all these other things now. Mm-hmm. Maybe now it's time for it to come back around to this, right? And how we get there.
Outcomes.
Outcome. So we have 50 years to get it done before we have to rebuild all our buildings again.
Outcomes.
It's, in
Outcomes matter. It's a big nut. Outcomes matter.
and,
So-
but I mean, for all the people that, that drive the roads every day that say, Jesus, the potholes, the this, the that, the washouts, or all the
Well,
other
that one up
things.
at Christian Ridge, I'm telling you, that one's up.
Well, yeah, Christian Ridge or Wamback.
Outcomes matter, and so the pencil sharpening here is, my view, is clarity around what the project is and the sequence of events you're going to take, clarity around what the investment, my business investment thesis is, what outcomes are we going to see, what gets better, what can we demonstrate will change better,
And
not suck less, but better.
Yeah. And we get better outcomes when we work together as a community, a governing body, and employees. When we support each other and we work towards outcomes, which is my wife's saying, when we work towards outcomes and we're all on the same page, that's when we get better.
So
We have to stop the being contrary with each other and trying to make it a competition and make it a collaboration.
You know,
You ever see the movie Jaws when the guy's throwing chum in the
Absolutely.
water?
We need a bigger boat.
And he,
Absolutely.
and he looks back and he says, we're going to need a bigger boat. Well, I'm thinking we're going to need a bigger whiteboard. We're going to need a big whiteboard
you know,
to commit these things to. That's all.
you know, we're here, Public Works is here to just to try to make our portion of the town better. That's always been our goal.
Got it.
And this is a path that we see based off of the input we got back from you folks.
Got it.
You know, you come back and say, cut the number in half. We come up with a plan that cuts the number in half. I mean, you come back and say, spend twice that, and we'll come back with a number, with a plan that spends twice that. I mean, it's a point we have to start with somewhere in a conversation we have to have.
And I also don't see anybody on this board, I don't see anybody in our town employment, and I don't see any citizens that don't want us to succeed. And I don't see how somebody can say that it's beneficial to someone to not do their job or to not govern correctly. It's not beneficial to any of us. We're all in it for the same thing. My son lives in town. I live in town. We raised our kids here. So why would any of us want to hurt the very thing that we're caring for? I don't. You have oopses, you have problems, you hit roadblocks, you run out of funding, things happen, but we all have to start collaborating, and we got to support each other.
Do we have any last questions for this motley crew out? Do we have any questions for you? Do you have any questions for us?
No?
Big animal pictures.
I have one
I
question.
gave you some pretty
It's all
good.
about the ducks and the
I
bunnies.
got you some ducks and bunnies.
I have a question.
Sure.
How can we help your morale? What can we do, the governing body and the citizens, to help your morale?
You know,
We gotta go.
I'm not sure, Brian.
Come on back when you think about it.
Yeah, I'm really not sure. I think we are going to just start taking care of ourselves a bit, and we're going to do that on our own.
Okay, board members, we are a little past our time. Is there any last items for these guys? If not, I'm going to ask them to adjourn.
So moved.
You're adjourned. But thank you very much for what you did.
Thank you all very much.
I'd like to get a motion to go into non-public, if you
So
would.
Second.
Do I have a motion and a second to take us into non-public? All those in
Yes.
favor, aye, please?
Yes,
Aye.
yes.
That's unanimous. We're in non-public, so thank you very much. You guys be good.